This was the first appearance of Chrissy Evert, as she was known then, at the U.S. Open back in 1971 at Forest Hills. She was only 16 and quickly became a national sweetheart, the youngest player ever to advance to the semifinals. And this is Mrs. Chris Evert Lloyd, 11 years later, in the Virginia Slims tournament here in New York. In between, America watched Chrissy Evert grow into a woman. Along the way, there was a long tabloid romance with Jimmy Connors and rumored affairs with many others. And then marriage to British tennis player John Lloyd. But mainly, America watched her play great tennis. She's won 3 Wimbledon titles, 5 U.S. Open championships, and along the way earned an approximate $8 million. Our guest, who has dominated the game for nearly a decade, Chris Evert Lloyd.
I think that because I've won for so long, I have a sense of confidence about me when I'm playing on the court. You know, even if I'm losing a match, I still feel that I can win that match. And I know that my opponent might choke a little bit or get a little case of the nerves because they're beating Chris.
ABC News, The Last Word. Late night television, tonight with Greg Jackson in New York. Remember, The Last Word will not be taking your calls this evening.
Thursday, everyone is celebrating.
It's kind of a surprise.
So get on your marks and go for it. It's an all-new night of comedy.
Oh, this is fun.
When Benson moves to Thursdays.
Sorry we're late.
And Condu moves to a new time.
I thought I'd get dressed for the occasion.
Too close for comfort, and It Takes Two join in the party.
You sure that's the right TV?
Starting Thursday, the laughs are on Benson, Condu, Too Close for Comfort, and It Takes Two.
Easter Sunday, ABC News takes you where no camera has ever gone before. The private world of Pope John Paul II. Take a rare look inside the Vatican, share his private moments, gain a deeper understanding of this extraordinary man whose unprecedented travels and unique style are creating some controversy within his own church.
I am the pastor, I am the shepherd. It is my church.
The Pope and his Vatican, an ABC News special, Easter Sunday. Great events of all sorts. This month on ABC's Wide World of Sports. When April showers bring boxing powers, bikers race across the states. Daring women divers defy fates. Horses gallop toward Kentucky. The good old boys are feeling lucky. A marathon in Rotterdam. Cuba battles Uncle Sam. And sprint cars try to stay on land. The best events, the biggest scores. Because on ABC's Wide World of Sports, when it rains, it pours.
The old neighborhood's changed, but Mama won't leave. Says it's a home. I used to worry a lot until she got direct deposit. Now her Social Security goes straight to her account, and she never has to carry a check. Direct deposit gives Mama a good feeling, and she's got that coming. Because even though I worry less about her, oh, she still worries plenty about me.
Tú necesitas un pelado.
I just got it cut.
Ask for direct deposit where you have a checking or savings account. It's free, and you've got it coming.
When I was your age, Punkin, there were trees everywhere. But people got careless, and every year they started forest fires, and all the trees burned down. Then the birds died. Because without trees, there's no air, so everything dies.
Grandpa, I wish I can bring back the trees for you.
What's it like out there on the circuit when you are playing? I mean, you are virtual gypsies.
Yeah, we are.
Lonely?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think because I'm not lonely now, but I went through a period of about 5 years when I was single and traveling all around. And
are you getting hit on all the time as well? From men, or you just scare the pants off?
Yeah, not that much. I mean, I really don't see a lot of men around the circuit, to tell you the truth. So,
wait a minute, what does that mean? Where are they?
Well, I mean, they're up there in the stands somewhere, but, you know, I think that especially the top players are very protected. I mean, we're ushered on the court with security, and then we're ushered off the court. We go to the press. We're ushered into limousines to go to our hotel. So we're not approachable at all. So even if there are men out there, it's, you know, it just doesn't work out.
In fact, your present husband, now how did you meet him?
My present husband? Sounds funny. He's a professional tennis player.
And you saw him across a crowded tea room in London, if I'm to believe it.
You've been reading.
If I'm to believe it.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
All right,
at
tell me
Wimbledon.
what happened? Here's this little English-Greek god across the room?
Yeah, he's pretty good looking. And I see him across the room, and...
did you know who he was?
I knew who he was, but it's funny, I mean, I knew a lot of the men tennis players. I'd see them at tournaments, and we'd, you know, kid around and stuff.
Well, you saw a few. I mean, you did know Jimmy Connor.
Yes, did know him. And I saw John across the room, and I asked a girlfriend to introduce us. So it was a very aggressive move on my part. So anyway.
Was that unusual for you?
Oh, yeah.
Was your heart pounding and you felt foolish? And all of those things?
I felt foolish, yeah, I felt foolish. But she introduced us, I think, the next day. And as soon as I heard that accent, I had second thoughts. Have you heard a British accent? It was like so proper and...
Can you do it yet? Have you picked it up?
No, yeah, I can. I mean, I kid around, but he said something like, "Oh, it's lovely to meet you," and I've never used the word "lovely" in my life, you know. And I thought, "Oh my heavens!" Maybe
and the only men you ever knew that used that word, you didn't go out with.
Exactly,
okay.
exactly. So I thought about it. I said, "Well, no." So we arranged. I had two girlfriends with me, and we went out to Tramp, which was a discotheque in London, with John. And the two girls left, and then it was just John and I. We hit it off great. We got along great. And that was the beginning.
Of your present husband?
Yeah, my present husband, yeah.
You have now been playing hard, serious, competitive tennis for more than 20 years. How do you keep the appetite? How do you keep the edge? I mean, what does it matter if you win one more Wimbledon or one more U.S. Open?
Well, I think if I had started playing really intensely at age 20, I would have a different theory about it. But as you said, I started playing when I was 6 years old. And I became so wrapped up in it that it's in my blood.
Two immediate questions before you go a step further. Why did you start playing when you were 6? And it would seem that you would be bored of it by now than if you started when you were 20.
Well, I began playing at 6. It was not my choice. It was my father's choice. He was a tennis professional, and he played the circuit when he was younger. And he just took me over the courts one day and just started throwing tennis balls at me. He was really the driving force behind me. I mean, it wasn't my ambitions or my strong feeling about playing tennis at that age. I didn't really feel anything. I was kind of numb to it. I mean, I would just say, well, my whole family's over at the tennis court, so I'll go over and hit some with Dad and hit some with my brothers and sisters. And that was our life, really, to go over there every day and play tennis. And then I'd go to school, and after school, you know, all the other girls would be going to cheerleading practice or whatever, and I'd go over the courts and practice my tennis. So it was kind of a way of life with us.
Are you sorry at all, the price you paid?
Nope. No, because I feel like I'm making up for it now. I mean, I'm going through things now that I should have gone through when I was 18 years old, really, with dealing with myself and my own identity.
Two things.
What do you mean?
For example, two things that you're going through now that you should have gone when you're 18.
Well, I think sometimes you get mixed up with the real you and the image you. You know, and what I really want, what really makes me happy, what I really want in life, or what I'm supposed to want in life. I mean, I've been basically influenced, you know, by people, by my family, by my parents.
You were really the good little girl, always.
Yeah, I was, my mother used to call me the peacemaker in the family. I hated fights, I hated arguments, and now I think I'm really starting to be my own person now. And it's taken a long time.
Is it scary?
I have a great feeling about it. It's scary at times, but I mean, you have a feeling of loneliness, I think, at times, you can even feel lonely with yourself, but all in all, you feel a lot stronger and even more independent when you come to that. Fear is a terrible thing, you know? It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind.
What was it like when you went back to the room a loser? Didn't happen often. But Tracy Austin just kicked your bottom off that court.
Yeah.
What happens when you got back?
Sometimes you feel desperate. You know, sometimes it's such a low feeling. I've played matches and I've lost matches and I've gone back to the hotel room and stayed there for 3 days.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Not come out and just be by myself for 3 days. This is when I was, you know, around 20, 21. I wouldn't do that now because my husband would kick me out of the door and say, let's go to Palm Springs or something. But I used to be desperate.
We'll have more with Chris Evert Lloyd when The Last Word returns in just a moment. Stay with us.
She came right out and told me my teeth were yellow from smoking.
I didn't want to embarrass him, but he did get the topol.
When smoke from one cigarette can leave a stain like this, imagine what a pack a day can do to your teeth. Topol is formulated to help remove ugly yellow tobacco stains, yet Topol cleans gently enough to be used every day.
Topol is kind of expensive compared to regular toothpaste.
Oh, but compared to what cigarettes cost.
Your teeth are so much brighter now.
Yeah.
Topol, smoker's tooth polish.
I was overweight and looked terrible. AIDS helped me get back into a size 12.
The AIDS diet plan helped me get back into a size 6.
AIDS helps control your appetite so you lose weight, yet AIDS lets you taste, chew, and enjoy. And the appetite suppressant in AIDS is not a stimulant.
AIDS helped me to lose the weight I wanted, and it has nothing in it to make me nervous.
Question, why take diet pills when you can enjoy AIDS? AIDS helps you lose weight without making you jittery.
Oh, Sally, what happened?
Oh, strained my back.
I know what'll help. Doan's pills.
Good advice. Doan's pills for simple muscular backache pain due to overexertion, stress, or strain. Doan's pills contain magnesium salicylate, a painkiller found in no other leading analgesic, for relief of minor muscular backache pain for hours.
Just dropped by to see how your back feels. Good enough to fold sheets.
Thanks to taking Doan's pills.
Doan's pills. Use only as directed.
Pepperidge Farm introduces pastry with vegetables inside. New vegetables in pastry. Fresh tasting vegetables exquisitely sauced and wrapped in 60 layers of light, flaky pastry. There's zucchini Provençal, mushrooms Dijon, asparagus Mornay. A revolutionary way to eat vegetables. 6 delicious kinds in your grocer's freezer. New vegetables in pastry from Pepperidge Farm.
Put on a Windex shine, spray sunshine.
Stop! Now there's a better way to clean greasy windows.
Better than Windex?
New improved Windex cuts grease better than any leading glass cleaner.
We'll dip this window in improved Windex. See? It cut right through the grease, even before wiping.
New improved Windex really works. Beautiful. Spray sunshine all over the place. Put on a new Windex shine.
You really have a self-image now of yourself as a person, as a tennis player, don't you? Unlike something those of us who haven't achieved your championship would never understand, maybe.
Well, it's funny that you mention that because I don't consider myself, I mean, I'm not really confident out there on the tennis court, but I think that people have told me, whether it's from my husband or my father or close friends have told me, whenever I've told them of my insecurity on the court, well, I'm not playing well, or I don't know if I can beat this opponent, they have said to me, especially my husband John, they have said to me, Chrissy, you know, just think how they're feeling. Think for 1 second how they are feeling playing you and beating you. Yeah, I get nervous. When I was younger, I was very cool. I mean, I didn't feel anything. I was out there, but I was 16, 17 years old, and I was playing Margaret Court or Billie Jean King, and I had nothing to lose by playing them. You know, they were the legends, and I had no pressure whatsoever. So I would go out there, and I would be ice on the court, and I would have no emotion. I would just play. But now, you know, now I'm 28, and I go out there and play a 13-year-old. I'm very, very nervous, and I try not to show it because that's my game. But I'm feeling a lot inside of myself. And as a result, you know, how I am on the court is really not the way I am off the court, because I store up all my emotions when I'm on the court. I let them all out when I'm off the court, so.
Go home and beat your husband?
Beat him. Beat my husband, that's right.
With a metal racket or wood?
Wood racket.
Well, do you see yourself as a jock? You certainly are by conventional standards.
An athlete for about 2 or 3 hours of the day, and then for the rest of the 20 hours, I feel like I'm a girl. I mean, I just feel like I feel like I'm a woman, a person, a girl, a human being.
You see what you're saying there? You're almost saying you can't be both. You can't be an athlete and a girl.
Yeah, no, I think you can. But, I mean, when you ask me what do I think of myself, the first thing that comes to mind is I think of myself more as a girl or a woman rather than a jock. I don't like the word jock anyway. I mean, athlete is...
It is inappropriate.
Jock is
inaccurate.
Is, for some reason, it just doesn't sound... You know, I mean, we're out there, and we're not only athletes, but we're entertainers. And...
Really? You're really very conscious that you're an entertainer?
Well, I think if we bring 10,000 people to an arena, you know, I feel that that is some form of entertainment. But I think of myself more as an outstanding, excellent tennis player rather than an outstanding athlete. And I know, you know, my husband gets mad at me because he says, you're a great athlete and this and that. But, you know, I really don't know if I was not a great tennis player, if I would be great in any other sport. You know, I don't have that confidence of thinking that I'm just a natural athlete.
That was my second question.
Oh.
Why are you a champion? There's 5 in your family.
Yeah.
Maybe one sister still might, but where do you come from? How do you come out the best in the world?
Determination.
You're really tough.
I'm very determined. Tough if you like, yeah. I'm very, very determined. If I set out to do something, I'm very stubborn and determined and willful. And
you think you just ultimately you break an opponent mentally?
Yeah. That's my strongest asset is my mental.
Can you see when they're beginning to waver in their concentration, when mentally you've got them whipped?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tennis is a mental game more than a physical game, because there are 100 girls out there with a lot of talent. But if they don't have the concentration and the mental discipline to harness that talent, then they don't make it. And I think I'm someone, you know, when I think of a great athlete, I think of a Martina, who is just very strong, Billie Jean, Yvonne Goolagong, who just floats around the court. She just moves great. And I think that they're exceptional athletes. I think I'm a very good athlete, but I don't consider myself in that category. But I feel that mentally, I feel that I'm in the same category as myself or Bjorn Borg or someone like that.
I read somewhere where you said something interesting. I don't know if it's true, that you looked over the list of maybe the top 300 men players and said you probably couldn't beat one of them. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's that big a disparity between professional men and women?
I would say there's about the top 1,000 men I probably couldn't beat.
You get it big enough, you won't be able to beat me. Get the top 2,000 or 10,000.
No, 1,000. Because the 1,000th best male tennis player in the world will probably be a very, very good college player.
And you can't beat the best college players in the country?
No. Physically, no.
We'll have more with
Chris Evert Lloyd when The Last Word returns in just a moment. Stay with us.
As a working parent, I worry about what the kids eat when I'm not home. They go right for the junk food. Well, I recently learned Franco-American products are really good for you. This spaghetti and tomato sauce has more vitamin A than a glass of whole milk. The SpaghettiOs with meatballs, my little one's favorite, has as much protein as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Of course, they like it because it's delicious. I know it's more.
Franco-American is more than just
delicious.
Stanley makes a hard-toothed saw with a built-in miter, so every cut is a perfect cut. It helps. Stanley designed the instructions for our do-it-yourself garage door opener just as carefully as the garage door opener.
It helps.
Stanley has the nuts and bolts that come in the drawers that fit in the workshop organizer that really helps. The do-it-yourself company puts something extra into everything we make because we want to help you to
Here, let Sarah crawl. I just washed my no-wax floor, even though it doesn't look so great.
What's this? Oh, could be a cloudy film from your cleaner.
Think so?
Try Clean and Clear on your no-wax floor. It's new.
Cleaners that mix cloudy can dry cloudy without rinsing. New no-rinse Clean and Clear mixes clear, dries clear, is clean. Nothing cloudy to rinse away.
Your floor looks terrific.
Try new Clean and Clear, the no-rinse cleaner for a clearly beautiful floor.
Spring's here. Time to shake off those winter blues and get your car back in shape. Let Napa help now during Napa Spring Car Care Days. You'll find fantastic values at participating Napa parts stores everywhere. Or head to your participating garage or service station and take advantage of these Napa Spring Car Care Days specials. Before you know it, your car will be raring to go. When the name is Napa, the standard is quality.
Friday, Adapt or Die, a film some white South Africans don't want you to see, but you should. How is an emerging black trade union movement posing a threat to the establishment? Is it creating a war over power and principle in South Africa? Watch an ABC News close-up Friday.
What do you see as a world after tennis? Does one ever consider that at this stage, or is...
I never, ever thought about it. Everybody would always ask me, what are you going to do after you retire? And I would say, oh, have kids, you know, raise a family, maybe work in commentating or stay in tennis, coach, but I would just dismiss it, and I would take it very lightly and postpone thinking about it. But interesting enough, the last 3 months, for some reason, I've been thinking about it a lot, what I want to do, and, you know, having children. I mean, it's a lot more serious, I think, than I thought it would be, you know, the responsibility. And I really am thinking about it seriously as far as I have to be ready because of the life I've led and being a gypsy and flitting about every week, different place, different arena, different crowds, and, you know, raising children would be a huge responsibility.
So how do you put all that down? How do you put the fame, heavens knows the money, and retreat into the nursery room?
That's a good question. You know, I don't know until it actually happens to me. And right now, I still want to play 2 or 3 more years. And I know that the end, as far as my professional tennis career, is coming very, very close. But I've always been one that I just look to each day. And I know that if I start thinking really seriously about having kids and about the future, then I'm going to lose sight to what I'm doing today. So, you know, I feel that I'm fortunate. I come from a very close family. My parents have a great marriage. The kids in our family are very close, and I think that that's an advantage, you know, because I feel that I'm basically a very, very normal person, and I will be able to have roots when it's time.
Do you find it remarkable that you're as normal as you are?
Sometimes I do, yeah. I mean, I don't find it remarkable, but...
If I raised you in a circus from age 6 to swing in a trapeze, and you did nothing else for virtually 22 years?
Well, I think you know, everybody has a different nature about them, and I'm basically a pretty careful person, and I'm not impulsive. You know, I don't act and then think. I always think things out very, very clearly and thoughtfully, and I think that's really helped.
Really, that's true. When I mean, it seemed there for a while. I was just reading a headline after with your, what appeared from a distance, your romance with Jimmy Connors seemed the stuff of Hollywood and two kind of dumb young kids.
Jimmy and I had a very normal boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and it was, you know, I was just out of high school, and we dated, and we saw each other for about 2 years, dated all the time, and got engaged, and it was a very, very normal relationship. But the press were the ones that blew it out of proportion and started talking about a fairy tale romance, and then they started saying, you know, I was seen with other guys and Jimmy was seen with other girls, and you know, it's very hard to keep a relationship, a romance going when you're in the public eye all the time. So, but coming from me, I tell you, it was a very normal, young, you know, romance.
If I was sitting somewhere with Chris 40 years from now, turning the pages of your scrapbook, and we came to the headline of Chris Evert and Burt Reynolds, was that really a hot romance?
Well, we dated.
What was the most embarrassing of all of that, following all your private life?
I think nothing was embarrassing. It was just, you know, it would be humiliating when I walk into the grocery store and see, you know, on the cover of National Enquirer or something. Or I remember one time there was a picture of Jimmy and I said, Jimmy and Chris are together, and we weren't, you know. And we were making plans to getting married, you know, according to the tabloid, and you know, there's no truth to it at all. So sometimes that's a bit confusing.
Finally, what would you advise the young kids, the truly young kids coming up so quickly? You are approaching the grand old lady of tennis, believe it or not. What would you advise
Believe it or not, Billie Jean King's 39 years old, and she's still getting the semifinals of these tournaments. So, you know, she's my idol now, I tell you. Just what I said before, I think that it's important for the junior players to remain in the juniors, to deal with the pressure with their peers, compete with kids their own age, because if they can deal with that pressure, life on the tour will be a breeze. Stay in it as long as they can. Try to win their national titles. Try to win the 16 unders, the 18 unders, junior Wimbledon.
I think if I can hear you right, you're saying really just know your place and know when to.
Yeah.
That superstardom media image is not really what it takes to win in the long run.
You know, why are they in the game? Are they in it? If they're in it to only earn money, if the money is enticing enough, then sure, turn pro at 13 and win $100,000 a year. But if they're in it to try to be #1, which was always my goal, stay in the juniors as long as you can, and then it will pay off.
Because someday they're going to have to go out and play Chris Evert Lloyd.
Maybe not if I retire in the next couple of years.
I'm Greg Jackson. Phil Donahue's off again tomorrow night, but I'll be here on The Last Word talking with one of the undisputed kings of television comedy, Sid Caesar. As you know, he and his sidekicks kept much of America laughing through the 50s, and then Sid Caesar just seemed to vanish, dropped off into a bottle of booze and pills and stayed there for 20 years. But somehow he got control of himself, and he's back funny as ever. Don't miss him. Until then, ABC News will be back at 6 a.m. with Steve Bell and Kathleen Sullivan on World News This Morning, followed by Good Morning America and later World News Tonight. We'll be back. In the meantime, tomorrow night, same time, same place. Until then, our last words, good night.
The preceding program was pre-recorded. The Last Word is a presentation of ABC News.